So I reached out to LensRentals and they sent me a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K for a couple weeks. That way I could get a better feel for the camera and to see whether or not it's a good camera for you or for me. So shall we open it? Lo and behold, we have the camera itself, and they're right. When you pick up this camera, it is a very light camera. The really cool thing about LensRentals is they did include a battery and a charger, which I don't think the actual camera comes with a charger, so you got one included and you're taken care of. And there's also a wall adapter, so if you're doing a lot of long form content, you got this covered. And that's pretty much bare down to what I've ordered, so yeah, we're just pretty excited to look at this camera. It's definitely a highly anticipated camera, and for good reason. When it was first announced, I was amazed, and I thought about ordering one myself, but I decided to hold off because I wanted to make sure if this camera would be suitable. And one great way to take a really good look into using a camera is to rent it. So this is my first time using LensRentals, get some practical use with this camera, and that's what I hope to share with you guys. So yeah, this is the camera itself, and when we look at this back of the camera, just look at that screen. Isn't that gorgeous? What cameras should be like in 2019. So my first impressions of this camera so far, just taking it out and feeling for it, it is a lighter camera. People mention it's very plasticky feeling, like almost like a toy. I wouldn't say that's the case. Sure, there's plastic, but it doesn't feel cheap. I think it would be just fine, and most people probably put this in a cage anyway because they're going to be mounting an external SSD, battery solution, whatnot, so I don't think that's a big issue. So let's pop on a lens here. I plan on using this with the Sigma 18-35, and I also have my Commlite Speedbooster right here. So this is a 0.71 reduction, and this Blackmagic sensor is a slightly larger sensor, so it's a 1.9 crop factor. So I'm curious if there's any sort of vignetting happening when using this setup here. All right, then we just need to make sure we have a battery in here. This takes Canon LP6 batteries. Thank you, LensRentals actually included a genuine Canon battery that has the best read features, I believe. That's as pretty bare bones as you get. You can put in a CFast card or an SD card. All right, so nothing further ado besides turning on the camera right here and look at that brilliant 5-inch touchscreen. This, I know, is going to be a joy to use because it is so much nicer. We're always looking at these little 2-inch, 3-inch screens, and having something like this is like a built-in monitor just right on the back. I think that's why this could be a good beginner camera, is it's actually really easy to use. Despite it being a camera that can record 4K 60 RAW, which is crazy. Over on the top, you have an on and off switch, and you have 3 function buttons on top. This one is programmed to be false color. This is a method for exposing. The last one is to apply a LUT or not. And third is our little CinemaScope crop marks. So pretty easy. And I just left them there because I think those are actually convenient to have. On the top, we have our ISO, shutter, and white balance, very clearly laid out. And then we have our shutter button and a record button, and also a toggle wheel right here. So if you're used to just, you know, flipping around the dial to change your exposure really quick, you still got that here, which is nice. Anything you want to change, you can do on the touch screen. Either way you want to do it, it's very nice and it's well implemented. To get into some little details I've noticed during my brief testing, again, I've only had this camera for a couple of days. So I noticed with the Commlite focal reducer, we do get some vignetting when using APS-C lenses. The real problem is with the Tokina 11-16. At 11 millimeters, we get some really heavy vignetting. You have to really zoom into 13 millimeters in order for that to clear up. So that is unfortunate. When I first tested it, I got a little concerned because I noticed when I powered on the camera froze, and I'm like, oh no, what did I do? I had this happen a few times with this focal reducer in particular. Just be aware, it has been working pretty well. So my favorite thing about using this camera so far has been, for one, I think it's a lot of fun to use. And I think Blackmagic has really made a camera very designed for filmmakers in mind. Independent filmmakers, short filmmakers, documentary work. It's very well thought out. And you may find it being more enjoyable to shoot with that larger screen, with raw functionality if you need it. The real thing I was really curious about when getting this camera is, so one of the things I was really curious about when looking at this camera is, from the footage I've seen, is it's really a cinematic image. It has a very film-like quality to it. I did some brief testing right here. One is the Panasonic GH5 and the other is the Blackmagic Pocket camera. With the Blackmagic camera, we're getting a lot more texture. That being said, if we look over on the GH5, in this comparison, you definitely see that digital sharpening. Again, this is vlog footage, and after color grading, there is a lot of sharpening happening in this camera. With the Blackmagic, it's not as sharp, but there is more detail there, and I find that image way more pleasing. I shot a lot of footage in Blackmagic RAW, but trying to figure out how to edit that has been a little bit of a pain. So yeah, there's a lot to go into and much more I'm going to express about this camera. I'm excited to test it out. If you guys have questions regarding this camera, feel free to write me in the comments, because the reason I wanted to review this camera in the first place is to see if it's a good camera for you guys, and for me as well, if I ever wanted to pick one up. So if you are interested in renting this camera to just test it out or film something epic with it, you can go over to LensRentals and use the coupon code NATE15 at the checkout to get 15% off your order. There will be a link in the description down below. You can check out anything from their sites. They have lighting, audio, Blackmagic products. So